And at one point we just say, okay, let's do it. Other question, this was asked the other day and I didn't answer it, so it's asked here again, although it doesn't relate to the question. Can visualization be used in Krishna consciousness? Yes. There was the Brahmana who meditated every day on offering things to Krishna, and Prabhupada in many places refers to this. Prabhupada in many places talks about, and in fact this is a required item of deity worship, that one offer things not only on the gross platform but also on the subtle platform. So I'm making the offering not only with my body but also with my mind. And certainly you can visualize that you're offering things to Krishna that are better than what you're able to offer on the gross platform. Prabhupada talks about this one purport where he says that when we sit in front of the deity, we should meditate on massaging his feet and legs. That's a Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada says chanting Hare Krishna means putting Krishna on a diamond throne in the heart. This is the lecture of Geneva. And bathing him with Ganga and Jamuna water and decorating him and dressing him. So this is like what that Brahmin did for many, many years. And he meditated on going to the Ganga, like not just saying a little mantra over the water, Ganga and Jamuna water come. But he meditated on traveling to the Ganga, traveling to the Jamuna, getting the water in goldens and silver pots, bringing it back. You know, he was poor, bathing, massaging the Lord, offering first-class foodstuffs. So, yeah, certainly. And even if you're offering on the gross platform, so when you're making an offering to Radha-Landanishwar, we offer on silver plates?
Afraid not.
Oh. Well, we're afraid of thieves?
That's one of the reasons.
In old days, we used to always offer silver. Pure sterling silver. Anyway, whatever you're using, what are you using to offer? Stainless steel?
Yeah.
So you can meditate on it being gold. And you're making the offering to the deities, meditate that you're offering on gold plates. You can add things to your offering by meditation. There's a story about Ladini doing that. Ladini Devi Dasi. She was at a temple and she was going to make the fruit offering. And she goes to the kitchen and all there were in the refrigerator was a couple of limes. They were poor, you know, only a couple of limes for the fruit offering. So she made some limeade, water, lime juice, and sugar. And she cut up a couple of limes and put sugar on them. Put that in front of the deities. And then she meditated on offering the deity all varieties of fruits and all different, especially different kinds of fruits in golden bowls as she's ringing the bell. And when she comes out from behind the curtain, this is a true story. There were boxes and boxes and boxes of fruits in the temple. There's another story with Jagannath deities in Mayapur. This was when the devotees would used to cook at the Madhava temple and bring, now they cook at the Jagannath temple. They used to bring the boga every day. So they brought the boga over and they'd forgotten to bring tulsi. I mean, now we have lots of tulsis at the Jagannath temple. And they didn't want to leave the offering because it's an open temple. And they figured some animals would come or local kids or whatever. They couldn't just leave the boga and go get tulsi. So they meditated on offering tulsis. And after the offering, there were no tulsis on them. Like, now that's not always going to happen if you meditate. But yeah, of course. One can also visualize doing service that you'll never do on the gross platform. Like, what's his name? Singananda Brahmachari? Is that his name? Chaitanya Charitamrita. Or Nakul Brahmachari? What's his name? Who's a man? Is this Singananda Brahmachari? And he meditated on making a jeweled path for Chaitanya Prabhu. Then it stopped at Kanai, not this all, he couldn't go forward in his meditation. And he said, Lord Chaitanya won't go past this point. But he meditated that Lord Chaitanya was walking on a path made of polished jewels with gardens on either side, fruit trees, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted that. Of course, that isn't all you should do. It's not that you should just sit in your room meditating on offering service to Krishna, and if somebody says, please cook an offering, you say, no, I'm doing it in meditation. Yes, Chaitanya, you had a question.
About desires, specifically desires in the heart.
what you really want.
So I guess that can be, when you're saying that, it means some of these desires that are, are obviously ultimately not really what we want, but they're unwanted desires. So it means that to some extent or another they should be uprooted. So what is the process for doing that?
Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita, just like rivers flow into the ocean, that's always being full, but it remains still. No one's not disturbed by these desires. So
That's not acting on them, but it seems like when you're promoting this,
you let it go.
we should act
Let
on
it go.
those desires.
Let it go. Well, there's different levels. There's desires that enter into the mind that aren't deep. You walk, I've had the experience of shopping on a fast day. Being in the supermarket and seeing the cakes. And the desire enters the mind, I'd like to eat that cake. I actually don't want to eat the cake. I really don't want to eat the cake at all. I really don't want to eat the cake. But that desire enters the mind. You let it go. It's like a river going in the ocean. You don't grab it. And the thing's going past. And you just, as the Prabhupada says, you ignore the mind. The business of the mind is to protect the false ego. And so the mind's saying, you want this? You want this? You want this? You think of it like, walking past an advertisement. You may notice it, but you don't hold it. Instead, by contemplation the object of the senses, one develops attachment. We have to maintain material desires. So something comes into things will come into the mind. It says in the purport to Bhagavad Gita 14:22. Things are going to come into the mind. Don't hold them, don't maintain them, don't give them a seat. Don't invite them into your house. Some salesman knocks on your door. Do you want to buy a vacuum cleaner? You don't invite them into the house. So that's, a lot of what we call desires are in that category. Then there are the deep desires. Things that we really do want. That we have been contemplating, that we are attached to. That despite all of our efforts not to contemplate them, we contemplate. And we have a deep attachment to them. So what do you do about those? Well, first of all, admit that you have them in your house and you've given them a nice cushion and you're feeding them. That's the first thing. First thing is honesty. You don't say, no, Krishna, I really, this guy's not really sitting here. Because it's laughable. It's like if you try to help somebody with a problem and you know they have a problem and you know they have an attachment. You say, no, I don't really have that attachment. Haven't you ever had that experience? No, I don't do that. And you're thinking, oh, you can't be kidding. You do it all the time. So the first thing you want to do is admit it. Raghunath Das Goswami says that deceit is the worst enemy in spiritual life. Admit it. I really do want whatever, I really do want to be as famous as Michael Jackson.